That's my intro. You guys know. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Once again, it is the one and only Optibotimus coming to with another video review. And on today's episode, huge shout out to the folks over at Mattel for making this review possible. We're taking a look at something very special. Coming up in 2025, we will be celebrating the 40th anniversary of She-Ra and the Princess of Power. This is something that Mattel, when they were doing the cartoons and things like that, they wanted to kind of start appealing to girls. And He-Man had been running for a couple years, from I think 83 to 85. In 85, She-Ra showed up, and we saw like the Secret of the Sword. There was a huge crossover, and a lot of people really kind of took to this. It was a very interesting kind of change of pace to a degree. I mean, it was very similar to He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, but they're rebels. They're kind of hiding out. They're fighting the evil horde, and they're doing it all in secret. I mean, it was really very fun, and the fact that we're coming up on 40 years is quite spectacular, if you ask me. So the folks over at Mattel sent me over their new Masters of the Universe Origins cartoon collection of none other than She-Ra. So taking a look at He-Man's sister first, this is really cool. Of course, you got that very Filmation style cartoon collection sort of a sticker thing right there. You got the open blister. Now, the cartoon collection means that a lot of these figures we already got in the original Origins line, which was a homage to how those original vintage toys were. So these look a little bit different than that because these are more based off how they looked in the cartoon, obviously. I've taken a look at some of them, like, for example, Too Bad that we got from San Diego Comic-Con. I haven't really done a lot in terms of the cartoon collections. I'm really on the fence with how I'm going to display these, but taking a look at the She-Ra packaging, you can see the slight difference that we have here, where you got Grayskull there in the back, you got Grayskull here in the back as well, but you also have Hordak there in the background, which is really very, very nice. I love that. But you got that very cool, very reflective 40th anniversary logo right up there. That's not a sticker. That's actually printed on there, which is nice. Come around the back, and you can see the other figures that are in this wave, such as Ram Man and Mantan, which I'm very happy about. I'm trying to look. Oh, we got some good ones up here. Coming up, you got some images that kind of give you the idea of what's going to be coming out, but it's like as seen on Treasure of the first ones. Interesting. But you can see that She-Ra comes with her shield and, of course, the Sword of Protection, which is absolutely fantastic. But for the packaging on her, that is about it. Really very, very fun. Like I said, coming in the 2025, we're going to be celebrating that. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that all the figures are going to be doing that, because here is Ram Man, and you can see Ram Man has that same kind of packaging, for the Hordak kind of thing. Now, Ram Man was primarily in you can see it right there, was primarily in Masters of the Universe. So he really wasn't in a lot of She-Ra episodes. He might have been in like one or two or something. But the packaging is staying the same. And, oh, they're after me. They're coming after me. So you can see that even though that this is more of a Masters character, it still maintains the same box that we have here with She-Ra to celebrate the 40th anniversary of her. So for the packaging, that is about it, my friends. So without further ado, let's get her out here and see how cool she actually is. Well, this is She-Ra looking very nice. Oh, wow. I am absolutely blown away by this. Mattel really, with their cartoon collection, has been absolutely blowing it out of the water. These figures are phenomenal looking, and really very much making up my mind in terms of what I want to have in my display. Do I want that more vintage toy look or the cartoon look? And as I talked about before, the cartoon really was the the most that I focused on. I had, of course, a few of the original Masters of the Universe figures. I never had a She-Ra figure or anything. There were a couple She-Ra characters that I had that I kind of brought over into my world of make-believe, but She-Ra was not it. So it's amazing to have such a beautiful, wonderful representation of She-Ra from the cartoon. I absolutely love it. Now, starting off first with all of these origin style figures, you do get a comic book. You see Horde Invasion, and I love seeing all these other characters. And when we see these characters in here, we basically know that we are going to get them at some point in time. So Bo, Swiftwind, obviously Hordak, right there. We got several of the Snake Men, as we know that they kind of cross over between the two different franchises. All sorts of absolutely iconic characters in the, She-Ra, and I love it. So you do get the mini comic with it. Accessory wise, she doesn't come with a ton, but what she does come with is absolutely necessary for her. As you can see, she does come with her shield, which she used quite often in the show itself, as well as the sword of protection. So let's get her standing there. She still has a little bit, and you'll see this here in a minute, but she still has a bit of a hard time standing just because of how tiny her feet are. So it does take a little bit of kind of futzing to get her to stand there. But starting off first with the shield here, you can see you got a very nice purple. I don't know how well it's coming across on the camera, but there is a slight purple hue to it, which absolutely is wonderful and very, very beautiful looking. You got the jewel right there in the center. Absolutely unbelievable. But then here is her sword. So you had the sword of power for He-Man. You had the sword of protection for She-Ra. And again, you can kind of see that purplish metallic look to it, which looks really very nice. Of course, you got the jewel on the inside right there, and I love this sword. And just let's do the comparison right now with just the sword. This is the one that came with the Origins figure. So again, meant to replicate the vintage look. So much different, not just a reuse, but you can see so much longer. I mean, a very similar design, whereas like this though kind of like flares out. It connects on the cartoon one. So it's a very similar look, but definitely different. You can see also very much a longer sword as well, which is absolutely beautiful. The figure herself is what a lot of people wanted for a She-Ra figure. Now, coming in, starting off first with the portrait, like I said, gorgeous sculpt on there. Absolutely wonderful. Much smaller tiara kind of thing going on here, which that was, her, again, vintage one is gonna, and you'll see it, was designed to look a lot different. So it makes sense, but gorgeous outfit right here. You got the jewel right down there as well. You got her bracers around her forearms, her wrists all the way up her forearms. Obviously, you come down, she's wearing this skirt, and then you can see she does have those goldish, kind of reflective boots right there. Come around in the back, and you can see that she's got her cape. It is a rubbery material, and you can't actually remove it if you wanted to. You just pop her head off. Well, you just pull her whole body apart. You can completely detach everything. So let's try that again. No, well, that's really, there we go. You can see that this section just is around the neck, so you just put that there, put the head back on. I'm just going around like decapitating She-Ra, so I apologize for that, princess, but put that right back on there. So you do have a much more, again, cartoon accurate cape. Now, for the comparison between the two, obviously this is the way that she looked in the cartoon. This is the vintage toy. Now, there were two versions of this. The original, well, I don't want to say the original, but I think it was like a San Diego Comic-Con version. Actually gave her rooted hair, which I didn't get. I don't think I went to that Comic-Con, honestly. But you can see the big difference between the two. She had this big giant section here that, like, here's Princess Adora, and then you would put this on. Oh no, you can't even tell that that's now She-Ra. There was a big difference between the way that not a huge difference. You can see where they got a lot of the same kind of ideas. When you look at the outfit and everything, you got the little skirt section that comes down here, whereas this is like kind of a see-through sort of thing, which is, kind of weird, honestly. But I do like the actual cloth cape. Definitely too long, honestly, but this is a huge improvement. Again, it really boils down to, what do you like? Do you like the cartoon look? Do you like the toy look? So I feel like both of these can easily fit in a collector's kind of display, just depending on how you kind of want it to go. So I have such a hard time getting rid of the vintage toy. So maybe I'm just gonna have to create 2 shelves or something. I don't know. But this is a very similar looking figure, but this is obviously my preferred look for She-Ra, just because of the cartoon aspect. Now, one thing I will say is that because of the way that the hair is done, you can see it. Oh, it's also considerably shorter than the vintage look. But again, that was meant to kind of replicate. And then you take that and like, oh, now you don't even know that it's She-Ra. Look, because you flip that upside down and nobody knows what just fell off. Oh, here's where was this at? Where did I have this tucked? Did I have this tucked up? I think I had this tucked up in the back. So again, shield comparison time. So the articulation is a little bit limited in the head area, because when you rotate that around, while it is a softer kind of thing, you see that it makes her head kind of look down. So you don't get a full range of motion. Like, you get the up and down and everything, but as soon as you turn it, she's looking down, because that's pushing along her shoulders. So it is what it is. The shoulders here don't move in and out. They rotate all the way around. All that articulation is still basically the same as most of the Origin figures. You got a hinge here at the elbow, rotates at the elbow. This wrist rotates forward and back, and then you got a hinge going like this. This one, though, as you can see in the beginning portion of the video, rotates, but much like I'm assuming He-Man. I haven't opened the cartoon version of He-Man, but I did open the Prince Adam. The wrist moves, instead of going like this, it goes like that. So you can get a real nice sword kind of power thing. But you can also do something like this, which is really cool. It's a little bit more tricky to do because it's not as long of a handle, but you can kind of bring this together, because she did this quite often, and you can see that you got a little bit of hangover there, but you can have her holding it like that. She oftentimes would use both hands to kind of hold on to her sword, and I think that just looks cool. Again, I'll get to that aside. That is a cool look. I mean, I really do dig that, to be able to do that. It's really very fun. So I love that. There's no real storage for the sword, though. I mean, ideally you would want, ideally you'd want to put that through something, maybe the hair. Well, the hair kind of holds it in place. So you do have that at the wrists. The waist does rotate all the way around. The hips do move forward and back. The skirt piece is separated right down here, and you can see it as a softer material, so you can get a lot of forward and back, in and out, things of that nature. No rotation really there, but you do have the knee that bends, and then that does rotate. You also do have rotation at the boot, which is good. And then the ankles do move forward and back, and there is a soft-ish ratchet there, so it kind of holds it in place nicely. And then you have an ankle rocker. The problem that this one also has, same thing with the vintage one, you can actually see that the feet are about the same. These are a little bit longer, but the problem that you're going to run into is the fact that she's got these the heels, and the heel definitely does make it a little bit more difficult to balance her. It just kind of like I said, futz with the ankles itself to kind of get that into a semi-decent position. And then you once you play with her a little bit, you'll be able to get her to actually balance decently. And there you go. So there is She-Ra. Now, is this figure worth getting if you already have that one? In my opinion, as I talked about, it comes down to what you want your display to be. Do you want a cartoon representation? Do you want a vintage toy representation? It all comes down to what you want as a collector. This is really soft. This is very thin. So be very careful with this. Feels like it's a little bit flimsy. But like I said, it comes down to what you want for your own display. I think that you can She loved that sword. And it was cool how the sword can actually change. I think, if memory serves, like the sword transformed into this, if I'm not mistaken. And you got the jewel right there to kind of go with that. Like, God, I have not watched that in a while. I need to go back and watch it. But like I said, I think that it just kind of depends on what you want your display to represent. And there are a lot of Masters of the Universe origin figures, and that's really what it comes down to. I have almost all of them, so it's difficult to kind of create more space for more. And like I said, I got other ones that I need to open. I got Skeletor, and I mean, that's really cool looking too. So it comes down to what you want to do. I think Masters fans are going to get this no matter what, and I would definitely say that it is worth picking up. These origin figures are extremely well done, regardless of how you want it to look or be displayed. I think that it is a wonderful, wonderful figure. And celebrating the 40th anniversary of She-Ra, they could not have done a better job, I don't think, with this particular figure than they did. I think that she turned out great. I love the sword. I love the shield. I love the fact that you have the hands that, you can actually display her like holding the sword up in the air. I mean, it's just for me more of what I want She-Ra to look like. And as much as I still like that figure, this is it. So there you go, guys. Again, I want to send a huge shout out to the folks over at Mattel for sending this figure to me. That way I could take a look at it a little bit early for you guys, and hopefully you've enjoyed it and gotten some good information from the review. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Sending me that like really does help to kind of show that you enjoyed it, and lets other people kind of get the information about these videos as well. But beyond that, my friends, that is about it. So as always, I want to thank you all for tuning in and watching. And until next time, this is Optibotimus saying adios, au revoir, and Auf Wiedersehen.